Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to Outlandish Bricks. Hope you all are doing great. I'm doing good, wonderful, and I wanted to share a couple of things today. And this is my second video, and looking forward to make much more videos. So I would want to say something about storytelling, and this is one of the stories which I've penned down. A couple of years ago, and it was my first published book. It's also available on Amazon, Flipkart, and Kobo as well. So I want to say one thing, that any storytelling, as a matter of fact, it just teaches us something, which might help us implement certain things in our own lives. It might be any genre. It might be horror, it might be drama, it might be fantasy, it might be adventure, it might be comedy, or it might be a sitcom or a TV show. It's as simple as that. But it does teaches us a lot of things. So yes, I have penned down a story. Though it's a crude horror flick, which I've written a couple of years ago, as exactly which I was mentioning. Alright, so just want to narrate it a little bit. And it's a short story, so I'm not going to bore you guys. So please stay tuned in completely, so I can quickly, narrate the story to you, and you can mention in the comment box, what was the learning and what was the writer aiming for in this particular story. Alright, so we'll start the story. So the name of this title, which is also mentioned in one of my books as well. It's My Chopped Feet. So that sounds scary. Alright. So we just go ahead and start with the story. And I'll go slow. So you may want to go ahead and figure out everything. What exactly we are going to talk about it. So it's My Chopped Feet. So I'll start. Here we go. The footsteps followed me sounded closer. I ran through the empty corridors of the hospital, my heart pounding with terror, and my steps seemed to be quite nearer to those steps following me, since I was neither walking down or running over. Instead was crawling to that extent which made those sounds inevitably louder. Sarah was one of the duty physicians in the hospital who was deployed that night in their respective corridor. I was still crawling, trying to make my way to a nearby cabinet which would certainly be enclosed, and I can lock myself in, and in this terrified process, eventually got one. However, it appeared to be locked from outside. In the meanwhile, guess what? The sounds of those footsteps only multiplied to that extent, wherein I could barely imagine a feet distance between me and the one following me. The moments were significantly unbelievable, and undoubtedly got me freaked out to the core, which in turn drove a sense of static numbness, thereby making me flabbergasted, and therefore made me incapable to even get up and try the door handle, just to check if it's really locked or not. Suddenly, I saw Sarah opening the door for me, and I suddenly felt a sense of relief amidst this incredible taxing occurrence. Though I was relieved, I still didn't manage to get up and walk down. Therefore, still crawled my way through the room and could hear the doctor smiling in an astounding manner. And she in turn asked me to get up and sit on the chair, and she continued speaking with a grin, probing, "How exactly can she help me?" I replied stating, "My wife has gone for good, she died, and I'm here to collect the mortality certificate." She looked a bit startled, but her smile was still preserved. She started shuffling the papers, and guess what? Since I entered the room, I could still hear those footsteps. However, it sounded a bit far, though it felt like just behind me. And the only reason being, I was preoccupied with the doctor. Now guess what? Sarah finally started empathizing with me about this tragic loss and checked with me about the cause of my wife's death. I stated narrating about the malfunctionality of her heart. It was a cardiac issue, thereby leading to never-ending complications and in turn leading to her death. And I undoubtedly blame this medical institution for their callousness and negligence which might have made this death inevitable at the pace of light. I thereby stated further that I killed one of the doctors by chopping her feet off, who were concerned in this chronic medical case. Sarah heard me out till the end, thereby acknowledging this entire ordeal, and requested me to wait for a couple of minutes till she manages to find the documents. Out of the terrible fear of these sound steps following me, I failed observing an important element in this process, and it was nothing but Sarah being constantly static in her chair seat, wherein her cabinet closet was a bit far, and the documents which I was seeking might be in the closet. The most surprising thing was, we both were static at our own positions, and we were not heading anywhere with the documents. And you know what? And the sense of fear still prevailed fundamentally. All of a sudden, she told me to look behind, and in turn I stated I just can't do this. Owing to which she stated about the documents which I requested, and I can get into by turning behind, and finally, out of immense apprehensions and fear, I looked behind and found my wife holding 2 chopped feet in one hand and a document on the other. And incredibly made me bizarre to that extent, which made me shit bricks to an extensive manner, and in turn made me turn back to the frontal side. And what I saw was unbelievable. It was Sarah, standing on the table without her feet, and thereby telling me, "It was you who killed me and got the beautiful pair off my body. I tried saving your wife till eternity, but you didn't believe that your wife can still be saved. So you first killed me, thereby eliminating this optimistic notion to survival, and the reason behind this ruthless intention was a hefty insurance amount on your wife's name. One of those thoughts which crossed my nervous mind was to run away from there by overcoming those fears possessed in this orderly, and head towards one of these gallows, wherein I would grant those preserving sovereign powers to hang me at the earlier behest. However, it was not such an easy escape, because I was already hanged 2 days before, as per jurisprudence, post which my feet was the chosen one to get amputated, and in turn was sent to a medical school on federal demand for young doctors to simulate and therefore revise their learnings on surgical body examinations from a practical perspective. Henceforth, it was the same hospital where my feet was sent for medical simulation pertaining to budding doctors, and all of us were in the same hospital in pertinence to which this orderly was narrated. And we were coarse indeed, and even they might have an afterlife which may lead to vengeance. So, this was the story, which I had penned down. So I was just trying to, go through the story once, so felt like sharing with all of you in this particular platform. So, please do mention in my comment box, and, and you can also go ahead and, grab a copy for you. It's on Amazon. They might be having some discounts which are running as well. And, you can go ahead and, watch and listen, or because you also do have audio format as well, since Amazon Audio is enabled in that particular book. And you can go ahead and definitely see and check how it works for you. There are many stories, so definitely the story has a learning. Greed is something which should never be there. That's one of my learning, of my own write-up which I've written, the story written in the first place. And then after that, we had gone ahead and, I tried doing a lot of editing in the story, but this was at the end of the day, and it was Sarah who taught him a lesson. I mean, since it was written in, you can say in first person, so I had projected myself as the, you can say as the antagonist. Alright, so thank you very much, and I hope, I was clear, in narrating this story which was written by me itself. And please do give your views and comments on this. Alright, thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll catch up in the next video. Goodbye.